All right, quick check number 1. Negative times a positive gives you what? A negative. 9 times 8 is? 72. Number 2, negative times a negative gives you?
39.
A positive, and then 39. Here, what do we do when we have more than 2 terms, more than 2 numbers? Left to right, take 2 at a time. So negative 8 times negative 3 is? 24. 24 times 4 is?
96.
What'd you say?
96.
96, 92, one of those.
96. Okay? Simplify. What do we do when we simplify? When we have numbers and variables? What do we need to do? What? What do we do when we have numbers and variables?
You do the numbers first.
Put the numbers together and then put the variables together. What numbers do we have?
2, 3,
Negative 2 and negative 3.
Negative 2, negative 3. Multiply those, you get 6. And then what letters do we have, or variables? Y. Good. All right, with evaluating, when they give us a variable, but they equal it to a number, what do we do? When it says A equals negative 1, substitute. Yep, so we have negative 7. What's A equal? Negative 1. What's B equal? 4. So now we have 3 terms. We got to do what? Work left to right. Yep, negative 7 times negative 1 is?
Negative 7.
Positive 7 times 4 is?
28.
28.
28
But-
is easy, bro.
All right, again, what happens when you, bless you, what happens when you add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers? What do you get?
Integer.
You get an integer. Okay. So today, you guessed it, we're going to move on to dividing now. We've worked on adding, subtracting, and multiplying, so now we're finishing with dividing integers. And then we're also going to find the mean or average of a set of data.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What do multiplying and dividing integers have in common?
You get an integer both times.
You do get an integer. What else do they have in common?
Come back to you.
Dealing with positive and negatives, what do they have in common?
When you divide
You get a
two
number.
negative numbers, you get a positive, and when you when you do positive and negative, you get a negative.
Yep, their rules are the exact same with positives and negatives. Okay, so when you divide numbers, or when you divide integers with different signs, you get a negative. When you divide integers with the same signs, you get a positive. Okay, so those rules are exactly the same with multiplying and dividing. So here we have a negative divided by a positive. What do you get?
Negative.
Negative. What's 35 divided by 7? It is 5. B, we have we have a positive divided by a negative. What do you get?
Negative 6.
You get a negative. What's 64 divided by 8?
8.
Wait.
It is 8. Do these two on your own.
He told me to get
Positive divided by a negative gives you a negative. What's 28 divided by 4? 7.
What? I said it's negative 12.
Positive divided by a negative gives you a negative. So 96 divided by 8
12.
is 12. Okay, let's walk through this because that's not one people normally know in their head. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. When I set it up like this, how many times does 8 go into 9? 1. 8 times 9, or 8 times 1 is 8. So now you subtract what's 9 minus 8. 1. Drop down the 6. How many times does 8 go into 16? 2. That's how you get 12. Okay? So, moving on. Now we're dealing with same signs. So positive divided by a positive gives you a positive. What's 48 divided by 12?
4.
It is 4. Negative divided by a negative gives you
Positive.
a positive. What's 56 divided by 8?
8.
Close. It is 7.
Good job, Dawson.
Okay? Try those next two on your own. Yep, flip your page over. Try those next two on your own. On this one, we're dividing two negatives. What do you get when you divide two negatives? A positive. What's 54 divided by 3? 18. Again, let's talk through this. Well, how many times does 3 go into 5?
2, 1.
1. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 minus 3 is
2.
2, drop down the 4. How many times does 3 go into 24?
8.
8. That's how we got 18. Okay? Positive divided by a positive gives you
Positive.
a positive. 42 divided by 6 is 7.
Yeah,
Well, Alex said 2.
go for it.
Okay?
Alex said 2.
Good with dividing? Okay, here, we're going to do the same thing with substituting. When you have x equal to a number, what do you do with this number? Substitute it in for the variable. Okay, same thing as we did yesterday. Now we're mixing multiplication and division. Okay? All right, so we have 6x. Okay, right here, what is 6 and x? What is their relationship right now? What's happening? What's happening right now? They're multiplying right now, okay? So we have 6. What's x?
Variable.
X is a variable. What is the number for x?
Oh, -4.
-4, so it's 6 times -4. What is y?
-8.
-8. So what's 6 times -4?
24.
-24 divided by -8. -24 divided by -8.
Positive 3, dummy.
Positive 3.
Yeah, positive 3, dummy.
Positive 3. Okay? So, final answer, positive 3. Now, what's happening with this one? What is this? What's happening between -4 and x?
It's on the top.
They need to be multiplied because they're right next to each other.
They're multiplying because they're right next to each other. So, what does x equal again?
-4.
-4. What does this big bar mean?
Divide.
Division. What's y equal?
16.
What's y equal? -8.
-8.
-4 times -4 is
16.
positive 16 divided by -8, which is
2.
positive or negative? -2. Yep. Okay, now we're moving on to average and mean. Okay, does anybody have any idea what that means? Yeah, Hazel.
I know what it means. Well, I know how to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know how you get the answer.
How?
You
What's that one?
you add all the numbers together and then
What?
you divide it by however numbers are.
Yep. Yep, she's exactly right. So you're given a set of data right here. You're given a set of data. Given a set of data. What you do is you take that set of data, add the numbers together. Okay, and then you divide by how many numbers that there are. Okay? So that's how they did that one. There's 7 numbers, so they divided by 7 because it's the total. Okay? So let's do some practice. Ramon has scores of that set of data in 6 rounds of a word game. We want to find the mean or the average of those two. Okay? So how do we find mean and average again? Alex?
You add them all up and then you divide how much.
Yep. So first step is add them all up, right? So we have 12 plus -18. What I write down, you write down. Plus 3 plus a -7 plus 1 plus a -3. And then we divide all of that by what?
6.
How did you get 6?
I counted all the numbers.
The total number that there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Okay? So now we just got to work left to right to add all those together. So 12 plus a -18, -6 plus 3,
9. -9. Wait.
-6 plus 3. -3 plus -7,
-10.
-10 plus 1,
9.
-9 plus a -3. -12. So on the top we have -12 over 6.
-2.
Yep, -12 divided by 6 is -2. Yep. So -2 is the average of that set of data.
So
Okay.
keep this